I did ask my family to come up with me because it's not only me that are serving, but it's my family is serving as well. So those of you that don't know who I am, I'm John Dodson. This is my wife, Michelle, and my daughter, Amanda, and my son, Zach. We've been members here almost 20 years, which is unbelievable. Time flies. So Travis and your little ones, time flies. It was just yesterday I was holding my son just like you are. So, or it seems like it anyway. So anyway, just a little bit about me and who I am and how I came here. I was born in Pennsylvania. Both my wife and I were born in Pennsylvania. A little fun fact is we were actually next door neighbors. So I married the girl next door, you could say. So, but you know, when I look back on that, that was God's hand in that more ways than I can ever count. So that there's God. I can just see God working there in more ways than I have time to share. But I was baptized and raised in the Catholic Church, and we remained Catholic, and I remained Catholic until we moved here to North Carolina, roughly 23 years ago. Church was something we did as a Catholic. My dad, both my parents are godly people, and I'm thankful for that because I definitely have a godly example in my life, both my dad and my mom. But church as a kid was just something we did. I didn't really have a relationship with God. It was just something we did every Sunday. But when my wife and I moved here, we immediately started attending a church where my aunt and my uncle were members, which was not a Catholic church. However, after a few years, God began to show us things that the church was doing that was not according to His Word. So we then began to search for a new church and visited many, and even rethinking our departure of the Catholic Church. But everywhere we visited, we never really felt like we were welcome there, and never really felt a connection. So at the time, I was working with Newman Gunter, and he invited us to visit Westwood. We'd never considered a Baptist church, but my wife was pregnant with our first child, our daughter Amanda, and we really wanted to find a church family. So we visited Westwood, and we really felt like we were welcomed here. I don't remember the sermon that Gerald preached, but what I do remember about Gerald is he came and he visited us at our home. It was that same week, and he showed up in a black T-shirt. I thought he was going to beat me up because he still might, and that's okay. But growing up Catholic, I was used to the priest wearing, the priestly stuff. And so when Gerald shows up in this black T-shirt and jeans, I'm like, oh boy. But it was a good thing. It really was. So, hold on, I've lost my place. So I wrote this down to read it, and so I wouldn't. But anyway, let me find my place. I don't remember the sermon that Gerald preached that day, but I remember not ever hearing God's word preached that way. And what really struck us, and me and us, was the sound of Bible pages turning. I grew up as in the church we grew up. They didn't. I never heard that. But here, even today, you hear people turning pages in the Bible. They're engaged. That's really cool. But hold on. I'm trying. I should have made these pages bigger. So, and I need to take my glasses off because I can't see. But that was something we'd never experienced before, and I really felt convicted of the need for God's presence in my life. After several weeks, we had really felt this is where God called us to. Every Sunday, I felt more and more convicted that I was missing something. My wife was about to give birth to our daughter, and I felt really empty and really scared. And this was also right after the 9/11 attacks. And my dad had called me, and I'll never forget the phone call. And he said, "Son, that he was praying for me, and that he wanted to make sure that he's seen all his kids in heaven." That hit me like somebody had shot me in the chest. And that's when I realized that it wasn't just a church I needed, but it was Jesus himself that was what I needed. Jesus needed to be the center of my life, our family, and our home. And after several months, my wife and I were baptized here at Westwood together. One of the things that God has really showed me through this pandemic, this COVID pandemic, was my desire to serve people in any way I can, whether it's cutting trees, whether it's stacking lumber, whatever is needed. I feel like that's my I want to serve, and I want to do it in any way I can. So I'm very excited and look forward to how God will use me to point others towards him. So please pray that I will be a faithful servant and serve well. I've asked my family to stand up here with me today because so much of who God has made me has been done through my role as a husband and a father. And I believe this calling is not only for me, but for us as a family. Please pray that my wife and I are open to what God has for us in this role, that we will continue to look to him in all things, and that our family will be Christ's light to others in a dark world. Thanks.